Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Hey there folks, welcome you all to yet another vlog of mine. It is coming to you on a Saturday this week, people. Yes, it is, and there is a very good reason for that, and I shall get into all of that. But can I just say, first of all, flagons up to you all. And if you haven't got one of these, and it is Saturday evening, any evening, or sunny afternoon, I suppose, but not in the morning, people, then go and get yourself one of these or something of a similar ilk and come and join me while we chinwag about things gaming and what's going on in the world. I'm going to chat a little bit about the whole nightmare that is surrounding us all, people, just so we can get it off our chest more than anything else. So if you don't want to hear me talk about all of that sort of stuff, we will be talking about the gaming things in a little bit. So, you know, the power of YouTube, you can wind forward if you would like. You don't have to listen to all of that spraff if you don't want to, but I thought it'd be quite nice just to, well, I need to tell you about why I didn't do a Friday vlog for a start off, and that's going to run into it anyway. And we have some gaming news this week, of which I thought was quite interesting to talk about, and I wanted to talk about what I've been doing on the channel as well. So, let's crack in. So yesterday, well, since last week, so last weekend, I started to feel not very well, and I just, you know, when you just feel like you just know there's something, and I was unsure because, like, the problem with the coronavirus or COVID-19 as it's now called, that particular strain, is that they give you, like, these are the main symptoms, but not everybody gets the same symptoms. Like, there's regular symptoms of high temperature, a cough, a constant cough, which is dry, I think, just a constant dry cough, and you know, a fever, little things, you know, it's almost like, is like a flu, effectively. But I had some of those things, but I didn't have the cough. I felt really hot. My head was really sore, and I just sort of had achy feelings and stuff. So there's a high likelihood that it maybe was something else. But, you know, there was absolutely no way that I could risk going outside at all, because I didn't want to, you know, they say if you've got any symptoms whatsoever, don't go outside, you know, stay isolated for 7 days. And that's exactly what I've had to do. And obviously, because of the way I was feeling yesterday, when I normally would have gone on camera to do this, I was still feeling not quite up to it, people. I was still feeling, you know, I feel like it's been 7 days now, and I made the effort to get up and get into the fresh air today really early, because I was out of stocks anyway. Like, you know, thank God to my dad, like, early in the week, he had some frozen bread in his freezer, and he brought some ham and you know, some bits, milk. So those were the sort of key things I needed just to see me through, and you know, I got through most of that, obviously. And then, so by now, the 7 days were up, and I thought, right, I need to make the effort to at least go outside, freshen up. I mean, I feel, you know, you can see that I'm not at death's door or anything. I mean, to this all said, I didn't stop working. I actually was working from home anyway, because we all are just now. And I do work from home a lot anyway. So I just continued to work from home. But, you know, I was feeling pretty crappy. And so this morning I got up, but I knew that the Tesco opened at like 6 a.m. this morning. And I thought, right, well, you know, just in case, even though 7 days has passed, there is something still in my system, I'd like to go when it's particularly quiet, just so that, well, A, I'm not going to give anything to anybody else. It's nice and spacious, and I can just grab me bits and get out. And B, because if I haven't had it, it's nice and quiet, and I'm not going to be up close with other people that may have it. So, you know, it was a double-edged sword I wanted to avoid. And so I went up there. I got there at 6:15 a.m. and there was already people starting to go in, and already in, because it opened at 6. And I was in there for about 3/4 of an hour. I mean, you can't stockpile now anyway, because they're limiting. Most of the stuff was like, you can have 3 of these, or you can have 2 of these, or you can have 1. The milk, you can only take 1 now. The bread, because I put 2 milks in my, because I wasn't stockpiling the milk because I just happen to use quite a lot of milk because I drink milk. I don't drink brews. Like I'll have quite a big glass of milk with my dinner sometimes, or I have milk when I on a regular basis, so I can go through a large milk quite quickly, even though I'm on my own. And if the date's good, then I'll just take two because it saves me having to go out again around people again. And so anyway, I had two of them in my trolley, and it only so happened that when and two breads as well, because I thought, well, I'll freeze a bread, and because I generally toast bread, I don't eat a lot of bread when it's not toasted. So you can take a slice of bread frozen and put it in the toaster, and it will just cook normally like it normally does. So, that's perfect for me, which is what I was doing with the bread my dad brought me through the week. And anyway, as I was going round, one of the guys asked a question of a member of staff that was stocking the shelves, and he was like, he answered my question. I can't remember what it was, but he said, he goes, "Oh, I think you're only allowed one." I know, I was asking him how many of something I was allowed to take. And anyway, his answer was it's either three or two. He says, it's three unless otherwise stated. It'll be two or one. Otherwise, it's three. But then he looked in my trolley and he was like, actually, he goes, I'm pretty sure the milk's only one, so you need to put one back. I was like, oh, that's fine. So I didn't notice if there was a sign up. They would have taken it at the till anyway. They would have told me at the till anyway. So it wasn't a big problem. I can pick milk up. But the fact is, I mean, the amount of stuff they had to put out, there was so much. Like, there really isn't any reason for people to stockpile at all anyway. And, I took 2 loaves of bread and I felt pretty bad about doing it. And then I thought, well, I'm not going to go and buy another loaf of bread this week because of that, though. It's not like I'm shoving loads and loads of bread in my freezer. I'm just stopping myself going out regularly. And I think that's possibly what 50 to 60% of people that are grabbing as much stuff as they can are doing. It isn't because they want to say it's all for me and hog it. It's because they want to, ensure they've got stuff if for some reason those shops aren't there. I mean, that's just a natural instinct. I get it, but you need to think about others. And also, they're thinking, well, if I get all of that this week, I don't have to do it again for the next 2-3 weeks. So it should anyway start easing itself off. Anyway, I got as much as I could, and I still spent about 100 quid. Just sort of getting bits in that, it was a little bit stupid so far as, sorry, not stupid is a horrible word to use in this situation. I don't mean it like that. But I get why they just blanket say 3 items. And certainly on tinned products, like, because people buy the stuff that's going to last the longest when they think an apocalypse is coming. So things like pasta and beans and all that sort of stuff, they're the things they want to limit because there's none. But, and I get that for the normal size tins of beans, but the little half ones because I live alone, like there's no need for me to buy a massive, because I hate opening a tin of beans and then half of it's in the fridge and for 2 days or something. So I always buy the little half ones, but I was only allowed to buy 2 of them. It's like, well, that's only going to last me 2 days if I have beans. So what I did was I bought 2 half beans and 2 half spaghetti hoops, which I wouldn't normally eat, but I thought, well, there's another option, so I'll get 2 of them. So yeah, but I tell you, right, I'm going to say this before I forget, and I'm sure there must be somebody in the 5,500 people that are watching or subscribe to my channel, of the sort of 100 or so people that might watch a vlog in a week, that if you're someone that works in the food industry, now, all of the people that are involved in taking care of people, obviously, NHS, anyone, police, anyone in that whole sector that is helping people through healing or through passing away or doing all of the terrible, terrible things that none of us would want to be doing right now, and have little sleep and are just battling away to do what they can for these people. Obviously, thank you to all of them. But I must say, like, the people in that are working in shops at the moment, that are in food shops, that are constantly stacking shelves, being asked to come in what time were those staff there in order for me to get into that shop at 6 o'clock this morning? I mean, they must have been there at a stupid hour, or they were there really late last night because they don't shut till 10. So can I just say, like, a whopping thank you to anyone working in any supermarket or anywhere, any food place at the minute, because And I felt bad that I didn't actually say thank you to any of them today. Well, I said thank you when I asked them a question and moved on, but I didn't say thank you for all you're doing. But I wish I had now. But I mean, I can't begin to say how thankful I am for those people because of it is just crazy how fast the shelves are emptying, and it's almost no longer off the things they're taking it from to put it on the shelf than it is going out the doors again. They'd almost be better just pulling the trolleys out and leaving them on the floor. Not very safe, right enough, but yeah, a massive thank you to all of them because, honest to God, like I worked not in food shops, but I worked in shops back in the day for a lot of years, probably about maybe 30. No, it wasn't that long. I can't remember now. Maybe 7, 8 years, something like that. And I know what it's like to work in an environment where it becomes pressured all of a sudden. Not to that extent, but when it's like a sale and everyone's trying to get in at the same time, or a lot of people are moaning, or like dealing with the public is not a nice thing a lot of the time. We're not nice people, I'm telling you. But the job that they're doing is just outstanding. It really is. And I just wanted to say a massive thank you to anyone who might be watching my video that either knows somebody that works in a supermarket or any kind of food shopping place at the minute, or does themselves. Can you just pass on a massive thank you to whoever you know that works there, or thank you to you if you're watching, because it is just extraordinary the amount of, and I could see it in their faces today that they were struggling, a lot of them, and they were not that they weren't unhappy. You could just see that they were maybe tired and they were feeling the pressure of just constantly doing nothing but endless shelf filling, and I think it's I think to some extent they're a little bit, they're not forgotten, because I've heard them say on the TV and stuff and about how good a job they're doing and people appreciating them, but you don't often feel it when you're there in the moment. So as many people that can say thank you to those people, I think the better, and I'm going to be one of those today, and I'm so appreciative of all those people up at Tesco today that were stacking those shelves at whatever God's sake and time in the morning it was for me to come in and be able to get what I need to survive the next couple of weeks or whatever. So thank you to anyone who's involved in all that. I mean, this thing in general is now feeling, I think when it all first kind of kicked off, maybe here anyway, certainly about 2-3 weeks ago, it all felt a little bit like, things are shutting down, we've all got to stay at home, and then I'm going out, it just, a lot of people, I think it felt like a little bit of a holiday. And I think that's the initial reaction, though, when you're not at work. It's not anyone's fault. It's just like when you're suddenly not asked to be at work all the time, or you're told not to do specific things like go to pubs or go to whatever, or you're allowed, even like just people, I think people harmlessly went to those places like beaches and stuff. I understand. They should really have known, though, when it got as busy as it did, that they should have picked up and gone somewhere else. But it's by nature. It's like, well, I'm in the fresh air, I'll be all right, But they think that the actual virus bomb that went off in Italy, if you want to call it that, that's what they've been, well, someone's been calling it that in Italy. They said that it's like a virus bomb that went off, actually happened in a football stadium, which is out in the fresh air. That it was a football match with God knows how many thousands of football fans. Clearly had that was the bomb that came back to, was it away from Italy or in? I can't remember, but they went back to their houses and they were just spread everywhere else by that point. Not anyone's fault, they didn't know. So anyway, you can see that it's all carrying through now. And I think probably driving to Tesco this morning, I know it was 6 a.m, but driving to Tesco this morning, even at that time, it was quite eerie because like the little things weren't, like there was no McDonald's lights, there was no Pizza Hut, there was no, like none of the stuff you would expect to just be flashing a light or something was flashing a light. It was deadly empty on the roads. I think the whole journey on the way up, I was the only car that went in that direction from my house, and normally there's and it's just it is starting to feel quite scary to a lot of people. And even to me, to some extent, it is really spooky. And every time I turn the news on, the numbers just keep going up and up. Just before I recorded this, Italy just surpassed 10,000 people who had died from the virus. I think it was like another 900 in the last 24, 48 hours, something like that. I mean, it's just frightening. And Italy have now also got pockets of people who are starting to try to raid shops because they've no food. And, it's easy to judge these people, but when you've been starving for a week and you're not allowed to go outside, I mean, your government needs to try and do more. And, I think our government's done a pretty good job so far. And don't get me wrong, I'm not well, I don't. It doesn't matter what I am, right? This isn't a time for political anything. I think our government's done a really good job. I think Boris Johnson, obviously, it's hit him. He's now got it, and his sidekick's got it. Sorry, I'm forgetting his name. And there's several people. I think there's three of them now got it in actual parliament. But that's just nature. Like, they are out there all the time, always going around at the front line, like seeing people and how many press conferences have they been in, how many hospitals has he been in. It was almost inevitable that a leader's going to get it at some point. So, he's got mild symptoms. I'm sure he'll be fine. He'll get through it. He'll be back out next week, get cracking on. And I think, personally, there is no perfect way to manage this situation at all. And I've been quite confident in how our government have done it. Have they made the odd mistake? Yes, of course they have. But I mean, for God's sake, nobody's had to deal with this in modern times. The last thing that was anything like this was bloody World War II. So we've got to be understanding. Anyway, they've been open, they've been transparent. They're out there every day answering questions to the press with their end of day meetings and stuff. I don't think we could have asked for more from our government. Certainly not much more. And I think we're quite lucky to have the stability we have in this country, and I think we'll be all right. It's going to get worse before it gets better, and I think, again, we surpassed 1,000 deaths just before I started this video. I think we've gone up to 1,028 in Britain. So it is starting to get to thousands now, people, which is frightening. So the best thing we can all do is only go to the shop when you really have to, pick up your stuff and get home, stay in your home. If you need to go for a run, go for a run. You need to go for a cycle, go for a cycle, but come straight back home and just keep yourself isolated. Even in Tesco, when you were queuing up for the till, everybody had the trolley between them and the person in front, and even then you were leaving a gap and just nosing yourself out a little bit so people knew you were there waiting. But, nice big gaps between everybody. Even when I went to the counter, they're only putting one till open, so you're not side by side with other people. And, well, every other till, I should say. And even when I went to the counter, I was stood well back from the woman who was actually serving me and only went close when I got to the bagging section. So, there's only so much you can do. I know I'm touching my face a lot and I probably shouldn't, but I'm at home and I'm washing my hands all the time. When I went to Tesco, I put gloves on and I wore them all the way around. And when I put gloves on, I don't touch my face and stuff, which is part of the reason I did it. Anyway, I'm only talking about it. I think it helps. It helps me to talk about it a little bit, and I think it helps other people to hear other people talk about it. It is scary. We are going to be all right. We are going to get through it. But, it's going to be a hard couple of months, people, at least. My personal opinion, I can't see it going away until the tail end of summer, minimum, is my opinion. But I could be wrong. But I don't see how this goes away in a month or two. I just don't see it. But the only way it is going to go away is, well, there's two ways it's going to go away. One is they come up with a proper cure, and that probably isn't going to happen until next year. The other one is that we do exactly what we're being asked to do, and that is stay as isolated as you can. Don't go near people outside your household, and just stay as isolated as you can. And that'll keep the numbers right down as best we can. And that's all we can do. That's all we can do. And, things are picking up in America as well. It's all over the world, people, and at the moment we're not anywhere near high up on the disaster tree at the minute. I think China, Italy and Spain are the top three. Iran's quite bad. There's other folk that are well ahead of us in trying to calm it down. They're very worried about India because of its dense population. It's like, some 1.5 billion or something, or is it 3.5 billion? It's massive anyway. I think it's 1.5 billion or something. It's just so many people, so many people. And obviously there's a lot of hardship in in that country. You know, not everybody is in a position to be isolated to the point where they're not near other people. Not everyone's got a method of income. Anyway, I rabbit on about it an awful lot. We've gone on for 20 minutes so far. Anyway, I hope you don't mind. It is YouTube, however, and you can, as I said at the beginning of the video, you can always go past it. It doesn't take away from what I'm going to talk about in the gaming sense. Anyway, all of that, I had to isolate myself for the week. I didn't feel up to doing a video yesterday. Felt a lot fresher this morning. It had been the 7 days. I'm still a little bit jaded so far as I've not been out for a whole week other than this morning. So I'm still sort of... Anyway, on to gaming. So what I have been doing, keep safe, keep isolated as you can, and, you know, only go out for a quick exercise and you're shopping, and just stay isolated, people. That is it. That's all I'm going to say. And that's all we're being told to do. And if that means it's going to save a lot of lives, then let's just do that. Because the sooner this thing goes away quickest when we do that. When we don't do that, it's going to linger. So the more we can do exactly that, the faster it's going to go away, and we'll be able to crack on again, people. So there you are. So with all of that said and done, I hope you're all safe and well. Keep yourselves well, and know that I'm going to be, and I have been, I'm going to talk about it now, I've been throwing lots of stuff up on the channel. I was determined to do a vlog this week, even though I'd had a week like that, because I want to keep in touch with you guys through all of this. I want to give you a method of escaping it and chatting about it, and keeping something fun in your lives, like your news of the gaming and the Let's Plays and stuff like that. So that's what I've been doing this week, even though I was feeling a bit crappy for most of the week. I'd already pre-recorded quite a bit of stuff so War in the North I'd kind of been hammering through because I was enjoying it so much anyway. So War in the North is now finished. The last episode went up today. There was 13 parts to that. They're all up. They're all live. So you can watch that entire playthrough. It's all there. And then I immediately went on to finish Chaos Bane, which I've been saying I was determined to finish for so long. So I finally finished Chaos Bane in another 2 parts. So 17 and 18, they both went up yesterday and the day before, I think. And then immediately after that, I started I picked up on the Dragon Age Inquisition playthrough that was already going. And I have recorded a shit ton of that, people. So you've got Dragon Age Inquisition. You've already had 3 this week, I think, including today. So we've got one for, I can't remember what number went up today. Was it 25 maybe? But we've basically got an episode. I've recorded up to episode 30. That's going to take us, if I put one up a day, that's going to take us all the way to next Thursday or Friday. So you've got one of those coming a day for the next week and over this weekend. And I've just started a playthrough of Shadows Awakening. Now, anyone who watches me regularly these vlogs will know that I bought Shadows Awakening at the same time I bought Chaos Bane, and I'd forgotten I bought it. It was that long ago, and I was looking through my stuff. I was like, bloody hell, what's that? And then it dawned on me that I bought it at the same time as Chaos Bane, and I was meant to play it after I finished Chaos Bane, but of course I only just did that now. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go and see what it's like. And I recorded 2 parts of it, but just before I've recorded it. Well, that's not quite true. I recorded 2 parts of it this afternoon. And then I was really jaded after that early rise this morning, and I've had a power nap. I don't know if it's because I'm jaded or if it's because I'm old, but I was like, I can't do a video. Like, I just felt, you know, when you've not had or you feel like you've not had enough sleep, there's that feeling. Like, I just felt like I need to snooze for at least a bloody hour. So I had a power nap, and so I recorded 2 episodes, and while the first episode was rendering, I fell asleep, and then woke up just as it was finishing. Freshened myself up, people. Put my makeup on and came to make this video. So we've got the first one rendered, which I'll probably post up so that it goes live to you tomorrow. So tomorrow you should get... I'll probably put that up first. I'll put that up in the morning at 9 o'clock. And then at the moment, the Dragon Age is up for 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, but I'll swap them over. I'll put the Dragon Age for the afternoon, and I'll put the Shadows Awakening for the morning. And then you'll get the second one the following day again, Dragon Age and that. And then I'll try and record some more of that to go in between the Dragon Ages. But on the same day, I'm going to try and put 2 up a day for you. So I'm trying to give you as much content as I can to keep you, or to give you something to at least look forward to in the day where you might want to sit and share some time with me. I'm not overly sure. I am enjoying um, Shadow's Awakening, but I'm not 100% sure it's going to keep me engrossed for a long period of time. I was enjoying it, and I love the way they've done it. But I think it was probably just because I was tired, but I was just kind of like glazed a little bit by the end of it. So, but it is really good. I love the art style of it. I love what they've done with the two worlds. You can just flick in and out of the shadow world and the real world. The way that it's done I mean, it's hard to explain, but you're basically a demon with human puppets because you absorb their souls, and you can jump between the puppets that you pick up. Puppets are basically human characters. So I started as a mage woman. That's the first soul that I picked up, and I'm playing as a mage. But then you pick up other ones as you go through the game, and you can dib them in and out of your party and all that sort of stuff. But there's certain things you have to do as the demon, and then you jump back from the shadow world to the human, but you do it on the flick of a button. It's really cool. It's really, really good. The voice acting's fantastic. The music's fantastic. The environments are gorgeous. The battle system, at the moment, I can't really judge the battle system because I've only got one power move. I've got like my basic move and my power move. And it's kind of a cross between a dungeon crawler and an RPG proper, because it gives you... I mean, the way they've done it is because I don't tend to quantify a dungeon crawler as an RPG. RPG. It is a looter effectively, as opposed to an RPG, which gives you a bit more in the way of story content and, well, not story content's probably a bit harsh, but probably like missions you specifically go out your way to complete. Yeah. So it's got that sort of stuff going on it. You know, go and speak to him, go and do that, bring me back this, go and do that. That sort of stuff's in there. The only thing that looked like it might be a little bit light is that it seems to have a really good inventory system and loot system. But I was putting stuff on, like capes, and it didn't seem to change how I looked. Like the helmet would go on and stuff, or the boots would go on and that would change. But whenever I changed from one to another, even though they're different names, it didn't seem to change the way I looked. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But yeah, I mean, it's a great little game though. If you can, I mean, well, you'll be able to judge it for yourself before going to buy it with the two parts that I've done. But I was thoroughly enjoying it, and I think because I was tired toward the end of the second part, I was kind of like, I certainly couldn't have gone on and done the third part at that point. I needed to step away for a bit. I needed my power nap, people. That's what it was. I'm gonna have a sip of this. You see, notice the beard's coming back, people. So I've decided through this catastrophe that we're living through, this nightmare that we are on with, because I can't get my head shaved anyway, because I usually get a weekly head shave, but the barbers are all shut now and can't go and do that. So that's just going to sprout because I can't be bothered shaving it myself at the minute. And I thought I'm just going to let everything sprout. So this time in about a month, you'll just be looking at a ball of hair sitting in front of you. So we'll see how that's going to get on, people, shall we? So yeah, so I'm just going for the rugged look. I mean, I'm basically going for the Rick Grimes look from Walking Dead, I think. If we can pull that off, that'd be fine, you know. But I couldn't grow that much hair if I tried, people. So it's going to be interesting to see what my bloody hair looks like. God, I just added massive deja vu there. Good grief, people. I need to go out more, unless I'm isolated like I was this week. Cheers to you all. Oh, that was nice, people. That was nice. Oh, God. I tell you, I need that after this week. God's sake. I mean, I mean, not to keep harping on about isolation, but I'm actually quite used to being on my own quite a lot because I work from home and what have you, and live alone. But even I found it hard this week because I balance my isolation, working isolated, because I do my bike rides and I do my running. So I do get out and around people. Even the weekly head shave is social because the girls in there know me really well. We chat away while I'm getting my head shaved and, you know, a bit of banter. So being around people, even if it's just for a small period of time, is just uplifting and it makes you feel happy. When you're on your own all the time. I mean, I literally have not left this house for 7 days. I mean, it's like, you know, until this morning. So... you know, you do start feeling it. You do start feeling very cabin feverish. I actually slid the back door open at the garden a couple of times yesterday just to let some air onto my face. Anywho, let's crack on with some subjects of the day. So, well, I tell you, before we get on to Xbox and PlayStation, I I was kind of torn as to what to do with the playthroughs actually, but what I was determined to do was to finish off some Let's Plays that I'd started. So that brought me to Chaos Bane and Dragon Age Inquisition by nature, because I want to crack on with those two games. One of them's now done. War in the North, I was just had this massive itch to play, and the minute I started playing it, I knew I was going to finish that game. That is now finished. I'm now on 4 games finished for the year, people. Hey, I'm the guy that never finishes games, and I've done 4 this year now. So I'm on a mission to finish Let's Plays from my list of Let's Plays that have never been continued or finished. And the main ones that I've got, I didn't want to do 2 Dragon Ages at once, and you guys can tell me if it doesn't matter. But I did Shadow's Awakening, but what I actually wanted to do was Dragon Age 2 alongside Dragon Age Inquisition, because I've got this massive itch to keep going with Dragon Age 2. Like, I was really enjoying it, and it was the opposite reaction I had when I first played it, because when I first played it was well after the event. I just played Dragon Age Origins well after the event of it launching, years after, and I jumped straight into Dragon Age 2 and was so disappointed for so many reasons. But playing it this time on the back compat and everything, I was just thoroughly enjoying it. So I don't know, would you guys mind me doing 2 Dragon Ages at the same time? Because I want to put 2 videos up a day at the minute, if I can manage the record time. And because we're isolated anyway, I've got a lot of time. So I'd quite like to put up 2 videos a day, but not of the same thing. So, 2 separate games. So if you guys would rather see Dragon Age 2 and alongside Dragon Age Inquisition, I'm more than happy to do that. I was just concerned that it would be too much Dragon Age. So you can let me know in the comments below if that's a good idea. The other option is, of course, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning on the Back Compat program again, which was really popular on the channel and still hasn't been completed. There's a lot of episodes of that already. There's still a lot of that game to do. So there's still a ton of stuff to do in there. And what else do we have? Well, that was the key ones that were jumping into my brain anyway. I did, dare I say it, I did look at Divinity. And I looked at the last videos that I did, and I thought, God, there's so much I need to remember to go diving back into those games. Those are the sort of games you step away from. For me, anyway, you step away from and you just forget nearly everything. Like, I mean, a couple of episodes you'd probably be back into it, but it's hard work though. Anyway, I was looking at. I'd seen Baldur's Gate, the release of Baldur's Gate gameplay at PAX, was it? Somewhere anyway. They showed off the gameplay of, and it's literally. It looks to me. I mean, it's a more realistic view graphics, if you like, but it's the same mechanism as Divinity Original Sin. So they've basically just taken that Baldur's Gate world and done the Divinity Original Sin with it, and it gave me a bit of a buzz to want to play Divinity Original Sin again. So we could pick up Divinity Original Sin 2 or 1, because 1 was never finished from way back, but it's just I've not got a big enough buzz for it yet. So we'll see. But there's so many Let's Plays that I started and just showed off a chunk of game that we could go back to. But at the moment, I've got a massive Dragon Age buzz at the minute. Alright, so the big news this way. Let me know in the comments below if there was something that you really wanted me to carry on playing and I haven't done. And if enough people want me to crack on with one of... I did do a few polls. I did a poll at one point, people asking me what they wanted me to do. I think I might have done a few. But they were so far back now, it might be worth. Maybe while I'm posting this up, I might do a poll just of the games that are in my head and see which ones you guys would maybe like me to carry on with. See what the biggest answers are. And then you can let me know via the poll or through the comments here as to which game you would like me to, which Let's Play you'd like me to crack on with a bit more. And I'll be more than happy to dive into it. So let me know, people, in the comments below. There was news this week, people. Yes, there was, about Xbox and PlayStations not being postponed. Not, capital N, capital O, capital T. Not being postponed, which is great news. Because everyone's been like, oh, we're predicting it's all going to be delayed. It's all doom and gloom. It's all not going to happen. And it's like, everybody just calm down. You know what I mean? Don't even know what the release dates are, and you're saying that they can't meet them. It's like, let's all take a deep breath, shall we? So both Sony and Xbox have both come out with statements to different outlets, shall we say, and or journalists, and they've both said that they don't foresee any problem with the launch of Holiday this year, whatever they want to call that. But we're looking at October, November, people. It always is. So they don't see any problem with it, and especially everyone keeps homing in on PlayStation as if PlayStation's the only people that would have this problem. And I don't know why people think Xbox wouldn't have the problem if they have. I don't know. It's an odd one because everything I've seen is people having people that do vlogs and you know, daily updates, and you know, whoever out there that does these sorts of things on YouTube, all going on and on about PlayStation are never going to make the deadline, they're going to be delayed, they're behind Xbox, they're behind Microsoft. It's like, we don't know that. We don't know any of that. Like, Mark Cerny's come out and they've spent all of the time that the PlayStation 4 has been going effectively designing the PS5. So they're not behind, they're just not ready to tell us what they're doing. Is it taking them a bit longer, maybe, to get... I mean, remember, Microsoft were way, way ahead of the game when it came to backward compatibility. So it's something that PlayStation have wanted to do, backward compatibility now, but they want to do it in their way. And in order to do that, they need to test 4,000 games. So it's just a case of them... They're not going to do a proper reveal until they can give us proper reveal. So, like, you know, this is the PlayStation 5 and this is the stuff that goes with it, and this is what it can do, this is what it can play, this is what the menu can look like, blah 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 blah. We haven't even had that from Microsoft yet. We don't know what the menu is going to look like on an Xbox, as far as I know. That's not true, actually, because on the quick resume menu was shown, wasn't it? The menu looks like it's going to be exactly the same as the Xbox One X, actually. From what that looked like, the quick resume menu popped in from the side, and, you know. So, actually, now that I think about it, that just dawned on me. It does look like that menu system is going to be very similar to what we've got now, which isn't necessarily not too bad. I mean, it's got a lot better. It's quite good now, but still not as good as the PlayStation 4's. But, anyway, they're just not ready to tell us. They'll tell us when they're ready. But they have said, like, they wouldn't have been manufacturing them yet. Like, it's far too early to be manufacturing them. They always manufacture them as late as possible, because if the longer they leave it, the cheaper the components are by nature and in a normal world. So they wouldn't have been manufacturing them yet anyway. So it's like, just calm down and we'll see where we are at blah point in time. China are now starting to send people back into work and factories and blah, because everything's starting to go the other way now with them. It's starting to die down. So they're hoping they're over the worst of it and people are starting to go back to work. So that's all starting to pick up again. And if, say, a month's time, China's back to full whack doing manufacturing of the parts and stuff that Sony would be looking for, then it's not a problem. And they are saying themselves, like, it won't be delayed. It's just going to be down. Well, they haven't actually said this at all. Actually, this is just a thing that we're all thinking probably, is how many components are going to be able to be provided to build them. So in the end, I think it will launch, but it may well be that there might not be as many available at the day of launch that we would have hoped for. But how many people are going to be in a position to buy a £400-500 console anyway after this nightmare? You know what I mean? I mean, at the moment, I'm in a very, very, it's not a lucky position. I mean, it's a position I've worked really hard to be in the job that I'm in. But I work in an educational institution, which is funded in a particular kind of way, which means that at the moment, I don't foresee a reason that I cannot be paid for the next number of months, or why I would be let off, or, you know, so I'm fairly comfortable that I'm going to be okay. But there's a lot of people out there that don't have work anymore, don't even know they've got a job to go back to anymore. And that's thousands of people. And even if they have got a job to go back to, they still might be missing salaries and wages, and the government are trying to cover as many as they can, but there'll still be people that won't have a vast amount of savings to be spending, you know, 500 quid on a console. But then, you know, I guess that's what finance is for. Which I'd never touch with a barge pole anymore. So we'll see. But I'm quietly optimistic that the coronavirus won't be a thing come that sort of time frame. I think by the tail end of summer, well, not the tail end of summer even, I think even July, I think by the tail end of July, I think we're probably going to be looking at being okay, and I think most things will be back up and running. That's my hope, that's my prediction. God help us if it's not, because, that's, I'm not sure how the world will be coping by that point, just financially, never mind anything else. But yeah, I think we're going to be all right. I think they've said they're not going to be delayed. I believe that they believe that, and that they believe they can get the components that they need, and that their factories will be manufacturing PlayStations. If I remember rightly, I think the PlayStations, they're not made in Taiwan or something. So I don't know what the situation is there, but they obviously know more than I do about it, and they're quite happy that it's going to go ahead and manufacture when the time comes. But they will manufacture those as late in the day as they can, so that they get the cheapest possible price on the product, the components that go inside a PlayStation 5. Same with Microsoft. So, but I'm still confused. I'm still scratching my head. Maybe someone could tell me in the comments below as to why everybody believes that Microsoft wouldn't have a problem, but PlayStation would. Surely all of the components come from... I mean, is it because Xboxes are actually made in America? Is that why? They believe that an American factory would be open to make an Xbox? I would have... I don't know. But everything I've seen is all about pointing the finger going, oh, so PlayStation 5s are going to be late. It's like, well, why would PlayStation 5s be late? The console, like, they know what the design of the console is. The design of the console, like making a console is not a problem. They've done it. They've designed it. It's there. It's ready to go. So why is PlayStation 5 a problem and Xbox not a problem if it's down to component availability and factories being in production? Like, they should both have a problem, surely. So I don't understand that. Same with Nintendo, to be fair, because they're still selling a lot of Switches. They need to make a more powerful Switch, people. That thing is not powerful enough. Like, that thing is great, and it's obviously really popular, but it's a mobile gaming device, people, let's face it. And it's nowhere near as powerful as these two that are already here. So, and we're about to step into another generation, and when they make another Switch, it's still not going to be anywhere near as powerful as the next generation. I mean, the next generation of consoles, at the moment, the specs that they've dished out, the stuff that they're using in them isn't even available on PC yet. So we've actually reached a point, finally, where it's actually consoles that are leading the way into what a PC is going to be doing. Because they've worked hand in hand with AMD and with... the graphics people's names I'm forgetting now, Radeon blah, whatever it is. They've worked hand in hand with them, the RDNA 2 whatever, which isn't available yet or what have you. That is all not available to PC gamers yet. It might be available to them by the time the consoles come out, but we are going to be on par with the PC gamers at a level. I'm not saying that we're going to have 64 gig of RAM. Clearly we're not. You know what I mean? You can make a PC as powerful as you like, but it's not about all that RAM and processing power in the end. It's about the actual architecture of how well it can play it all and together as a whole unit. And because of the way that these new ones have been made, bringing the SSD into effect and all of that stuff, the inner architecture that makes it all work without bottlenecks and all that malarkey, I think we're talking about game-changing stuff here. I mean, forget about petty fights about 12 teraflops and 10.3 teraflops, because that doesn't matter. The architecture of both of these machines is going to have them leading the way when it comes to how gaming is now done. And that's what we want from a console, because that is a console's sole purpose. A PC's purpose is not gaming. It's a multitude of things. So, to have consoles leading the way is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I'm super excited about both these consoles that are coming out. Last time I was excited about them, but I was kind of depressed because I felt the Xbox was like, oh, they fecked it up, which they had done. I mean, it was still nice to get it, and I still had a good experience with it, I guess, but it wasn't mind-blowing or anything. And then the PlayStation arrived, I was like, yeah, I'm into this, but And even then, like the games that came at the launch were, I guess the games that come at launch this time probably I'm going to blow my mind, but the games that came at launch last time, I was still kind of like, yeah, I had fun for like, even Infamous, like Second Son, I was having fun for a bit. I enjoyed the game, I finished it, but it wasn't a game that I think I could force myself to go back and play again. Felt very levelly and not much heart in it, so far as it just felt like a level with another set of baddies and a level with another set of baddies. It didn't really have any depth to it. And they didn't break any boundaries, but graphics wise, it's just like, oh, we've got some more power, we can make it look better. Anyway, I'm probably being a bit harsh, and also it was taking the motion stuff into account as well. So the hype was I was excited, and I was really excited when I got them, and I was stoked, and but nothing kind of blew my mind. Like this time, I'm excited for both. Like there isn't one console that's letting me down at the minute. I'm really excited for both. When you think about the fact that we're going to get backward compatibility, we're going to get Ubered up versions of the games for them. So and I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same with the PS5, but Xbox have already said all of your games are going to naturally play better on the next box up. They will just play better, immediately. Or there'll be an update for a game and it'll just play better or whatever. Or there'll be Cyberpunk's going to have a free version. Like if you've bought Cyberpunk on the Xbox One X or One, you will immediately get the copy that is for the Xbox Series X. And that's the other thing as well. I saw a guy interview one of the technicians that said, what is it actually called then, the Xbox, this series? He said, it's just called the Xbox. That's just the Series X of it. So it's just an Xbox. So you can call it whatever you like. So when you're talking about it, we don't always have to say Series X. We just say I've got an Xbox. So, the Xbox at the moment, that very sentence, because he said that quite clearly, we're going to have an Xbox Series something else. So there's obviously going to be a Series S, which might be the lower level one. I think that's absolutely going to happen. They just haven't announced it yet. So it's going to be interesting how that develops. Is it going to be an Xbox Series X? Well, it can't be, but it must be an Xbox Pro Series X or something like that. So we might get an Xbox Pro at some point. And it'll just have Series X after it, or Series S. There might be an Xbox Pro Series S, or whatever, So it's going to be interesting how they name them going along. But basically, they're just called an Xbox, and you're getting the Series X one. I don't know how confusing that is to people, but it actually simplified it for me when he said that. I was like, yeah, okay, fine. I'll just call it my Xbox then from this point on, because the Series X bit's really getting on me tits, people. For want of a better phrase. Right, what else do we have, people? I'm just rambling on now. Yes, finally. The Rock has come... No, that's not what I meant to say. So that's consoles done with. The other thing was, it looks like we've now reached a point where physical games, we've got games coming out. We've got Final Fantasy VII coming out, remake. We've got Persona 5 coming out. We've got all these things coming out. And there was... I think there has been now confirmed reports that there is very limited copies of the games physically. So you may well struggle now to get games on disc that are being launched until this is all over. So what the problem with that is, right? A lot of people don't mind buying digitally, but I mean, I'm not one of them. Unless it's an MMO, which I will buy digitally. Anything else has got to be on a disc for me because I like my collection. I like collecting the games. And the other problem is that there's competition in the hard disc copy market, whereas on the stores online, they just rip you off. They'll sell you a game at launch for £60. It's like, I'm not paying £60 for a game. What are you talking about? And it's madness. I've never understood why they do it. And... well, I guess it's because so many stupid people pay it. If we all didn't do that and just bought a physical copy until they sorted it out, they'd bring the prices down, but they don't. And I think it's really harsh when they know that there is no competition, that they're going to keep those prices at 60. I think, I think they should be bringing down, with everybody being at home, I think they should really be looking at giving people good deals. I noticed that the Ultimate Game Pass is you can get it for £1 again. I don't know if that's for a month or what, but if you do that thing again where you buy gold for a year or something and then add that on after, I think it makes the whole thing Game Pass for a year. And that's what happened for me last time anyway. I was tempted with it, but there's not enough games on it that I would be tempted to get into at the minute, I don't think. The only thing that maybe is if somebody on here said they wanted me to do more Outer Worlds. That was a Game Pass game, and Gears 5 was a Game Pass game. I didn't buy it, but I will buy that game though, and possibly Outer Worlds as well, to be fair. But because they were on Game Pass and I had it at the time, there was no point in me forking out the £50, whatever it was. But I think it's really harsh that they're not doing something about the online prices, and it's not just Xbox, it's PlayStation as well. Their online prices are absolutely obscene, and like even when you look at games that have been out for a year, it's like, what? I mean, only when a sale hits do you get any kind of decent pricing, and I think it's awful. Like, I don't understand. I do not understand. Like, how can I get a disc which must surely cost more to give me the disc than it does to just download it? You've had to print it, you've had to box it, you've had to ship it, you've had to, I don't understand how they get away with charging me that much money when I can buy it from a retailer at a much, much lower price. Like, how does that work? It makes absolutely no sense. Like, the overheads for me to download a game have got to be less than buying it on disc, surely. So yeah, I don't get that. They need to sort that out, especially if we're going to go through months and months of a shortage of discs. As it happens, I don't think I'm going to get Final Fantasy at launch anyway. The only game that I'm going to be remotely interested in getting to are Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us Part 2. So I may well pre-order The Last of Us Part 2 as quickly as I can, just to ensure I get a disc. But much as though The Last of Us is probably my favourite game ever. But certainly, yeah, I mean, it probably is my favourite game ever. But it wouldn't be the end of the world to me if I couldn't get it at launch. I would wait. I wouldn't buy it digitally because I would want a copy of it. And I still think it's slightly obscene that they never make enough collector's editions. I think it's awful to the fans. I don't understand why they put a limit on them, because clearly they sell out within minutes, and even when they redo, they go, oh, they've been so popular, we'll make another one. Well, you knew they were going to be popular, you knew you were going to sell thousands of them. Make enough for all of your fans to be able to buy an Ellie edition or a collector's edition so they can get the statue. Like, I've got these Lord of the Rings ones here with Gollum, and over here I've got the one with the two towers with the not the two towers, the two kings with the hands out and the boxes between them, and that Minas Tirith thing there, bookend, they all came with the collector editions of Lord of the Rings, and there was never a shortage of those. You could buy them you could buy them everywhere. When the films were out, you would never struggle to get them. You could always get them, and they came in a box with the statue in them and the box, and the extended cut is what it was, and there was no shortage of them. You could just get them. You can't get them now, that's fine. After the event, that's when it becomes a collector's item, because you can't just then keep buying them year after year after year. But anywhere in that year of that game being out, you should make enough copies of your collector's editions and stuff so that your fans can get a hold of the things that they want, and make them a reasonable price. We know that they don't cost a fortune to make, so don't be ripping people off. Like, I got those collector's editions, weren't ridiculously priced for those, and they're great little things. And the boxes that they came in were actually more solid. Like, you could buy the extended edition, but it wasn't as solid a cardboard as it was in the collector edition. So it looked the same almost, but it didn't have as solid a cardboard over the discs. I'm really proud of that little collection. If anything ever happens to it, to replace it, you're probably talking about hundreds of pounds. Like, people sell those for a ridiculous price on eBay. But yeah, it's disappointing. It's disappointing that it doesn't matter what game it is. I'm having a go at Naughty Dog here a little bit, and I love them. But, like, what is the problem? Make enough for your fans. You know how many fans you've got out in the world, and you know that they're going to buy them. So just make enough. In that year, that the first year that the game's out, or even the first 6 months, just make that readily available. You're never gonna be stuck with stock. Never. And if you can't do that, then just get the statues made that we can buy from the website for a reasonable amount of money. Like, any statue now that's to do with gaming costs hundreds of pounds or hundreds of dollars. It's just ridiculous. Absolute nonsense. That Gollum statue and those things, they were never anywhere near that. They were well under £100. They were, pretty sure they were like £50 for the whole pack or something. It wasn't stupid money. It was fine. So why on earth is it costing hundreds of pounds to buy a statue to go with the game? It's not just them. The Final Fantasy VII one's the same, with Cloud on it, on the motorbike and stuff. I mean, they're beautiful statues, but they don't cost that much. Come on. God's sake. Anyway, I get me moaning. Anyway, come on, Naughty Dog. Come on, sort yourselves out. And everybody else as well. Make enough for your fans. Good. Should we finish on a happy note? We've got a happy note. Really excited for that game, though. Anyway, if you want a physical copy of a game and you know it's coming in the next few months, I would recommend that you go and pre-order it now, because it is highly likely that there is going to be a shortage of disc copies. If you really want a disc copy, you're going to have to order it fast. I think I am going to pre-order The Last of Us Part 2 ASAP, actually, just in case this does carry on. Outside of that, I could wait for Ghost of Tsushima. I don't need to have that at launch, but every time I see a bit of that game, I'm more stoked for it. So, there you are. I've managed to talk for an hour, people. Hey? For someone that's a bit glazed and just getting his head back together after a week. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying all of the uploads that I'm doing. I'm going to continue to give you 2 a day as much as I can. I'm going to keep pummeling videos at you. And leave comments, talk to me wherever you can. I'm contemplating resurrecting, if it's still there, because it might have been too long now to reopen the account. When you deactivate a Twitter account, it goes into deactivation mode for like a month and then it will delete. So I can't remember how long it's been now, but I'm kind of thinking about reactivating it for a bit, just so anyone who wants to communicate and looks for a bit of a chinwag can get in touch with me a little bit easier. If you do find me on Twitter, I did create a second Twitter account, but I'm not using it to have people follow me or anything like that. I've actually protected it so that if you do try and follow me, I have to accept it, which I won't do, because the only reason I've created it is so that I can follow all of the game companies and just see what news is happening. That's its sole purpose. It's just so I can see what's happening in the game world, because I felt healthier from not being on that social media platform and not seeing all the things that would wind me up that people were saying and stuff. It was getting not healthy. I've spoke about it in another vlog. But what I was missing was the information that came with it, which was the people that I followed myself, like the games companies and the news that came from them and the announcements and all that sort of stuff. So I created the other account at Joystick Steve just to follow them. So don't be hurt or upset if you do follow that at Joystick Steve account and you don't get anything back. It's just that's not what it's for. It's just for me to follow them so I can bring news to you in these such videos, people. However, that all said, at Steve Gillespie's, if it's still there, I might reactivate it tonight, and then you can get in touch with me in some way or other there, at least for a little while. I'm just reluctant to go back on it a little bit because, well, you know, I just found it become not a particularly healthy place to be, and I was finding myself on it for, you know, anyway. Anywho, I might reactivate it tonight, just even if it's just through this period of time, just so I know a lot of you who watch these videos had actually followed me on there. I did feel bad at the time for deactivating it, but it was more for my mental health than it was anything else. So there you are. It has been an honour and a privilege serving for you in this video of mine today, people. Stay safe, keep well, keep isolated as much as you can, and I will see you in the next one, folks. Take it easy.